that's what I'm talking about. Look at all that. Woo! And that used to look like this. And the reason it doesn't, and it was exactly the same place. We ran the pigs through. Then we ran the sheep through intermittently. Then we planted our trees, and now you're starting to see recovery here when you don't over there. So now that we see that recovery, it's time to do some pretty awesome stuff with what I got in those pots. This ground right here has become more fungal. It's time to go ahead and put in something like these, the blueberries. Let me talk about these for a second. These blueberries, I got these for 23 bucks from a mom and pop place. And I kid you not, the same place in town, or different place in town rather, was charging 72 bucks for blueberries that came about this high. And they're getting it. So when I see things that are a really, really good deal, I'm taking it. So with that said, let's go ahead and kind of examine for a moment where we're going to put these, because it's a little bit differently than the places we put them before in the other orchard and the food forest. In the past, I've taught you by using a shovel, we gauge how we put all of our gild in around all of our trees. So you got essentially daffodils here. We would have garlic and daffodils on the inner ring, and then we would have an outer ring with the same. And then at the very end of the shovel, the way we've done it before with these low bush blueberries down there, basically from the tree to the end of my shovel is where I'd typically put my blueberries. And then I would prune the lower branches to be able to get a bunch of stuff in a very small area. And it works well down there. But we're going to go about this a different way. Instead of just going the distance of my shovel, which is what I typically do, and then everything from here down, essentially from chest down, I would prune out of there. We're going to do this different. Right alongside this road, I'm going to walk around here so you can see it a little bit better. Right alongside this road, we got a little bit of everything going, okay? All up and down here. Now, instead of filling in all the space in between, I'm going to make this stuff highly accessible. Now, I'm not going to get up into this wormwood, and when I say wormwood, I'm not talking about an asteroid. Yeah, that's another topic altogether. I'm not going to be messing with the wormwood, but somewhere between this and that, right about in here, I can prune that wormwood back. This, alongside the road, is going to make very easy. I got to be careful where I put this because I got water lines buried. I'm trying to make this as easy, accessible picking as possible. Remember, the number one place where so many people lose their hat and their time, their money, is basically how you place everything. In permaculture, we call that zoning. So you put things where they make sense. And for us, all up and down this driveway is a good place for us to put this stuff, because all you do is get out of your vehicle, you harvest, put it back in the vehicle, on up the way you go. So instead of using the shovel as a gauge, yeah, I learned that in Europe. Instead of using the shovel as a gauge, I'm basically going to front all these blueberries along the road where it's not in the driveway, but also very easy picking, because frankly, we don't have anything up here yet. And the way the sun tracks, that way is south. The sun tracks all the way across the sky like this. That's basically what it does right here. And I know that from where it is right now, which is about noon, all day this thing is going to get all the sun it needs. And that's exactly what I'm looking for. So let's get hopping and popping. Make your mistakes on paper first. That is critical. And then before you put anything in the ground, get a visual representation of what it is you think you want. Right here, I got a pear, I got sea buckthorn here, and I'm gonna tentatively think that I want this about right there. And I'm gonna go up, right back here I got an apple, and I'm looking and I'm thinking, okay, this might be a pretty good candidate here. Either one of them, I mean, this is like 10 feet off the doggone road. So I'm thinking, okay, where else do I think I might want it? Perhaps, see, I'm in something of a depression here. The pigs left this behind. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe right here in that little sea of yarrow, that's another place. So let's walk on down a little bit more and see if there's something else we'd like. Okay, I got black locust over here. As you can see, I've basically pollard everything back. Don't be afraid, it's just gonna come right back. But I know that it's gonna be very, very vigorous. So I think I'm gonna avoid this. But up here near the front, on the other side of that, I'm thinking, okay, this might be a little bit tight, but I can work it back. I can make it tighter than you might suspect. So I'm looking at these and I'm saying, okay, believe me, these are your best friend. Now I'm thinking, okay, do I need to sleep on this? That is a very wise choice. If you can avoid just going out here and doing it the same day, sleep on it. I'm telling y'all, you would be shocked. Now, in my case, I'm not going to be sleeping on it because I've been sleeping on it for 6 months. I'm dead serious. I've been thinking about the best places to put these things for months and months and months. And with experience, I kind of know, well, I really know exactly where I want it to be. So now that the flags are good, I'm going to examine it. I'm going to think about it. And you should too. Like I said, sleep on it and then come back later. Let's talk about the next step. I got this flag and I think I like where it's going to be. You can even take the day you're going to do it, if you have things in pots, then you could put the pots in place of your flag and you can decide, okay, is that really where I want it or not? We just put that in just a few months ago and we know it's going to be bushy. We know this is going to be bushy and we're okay with that. I think right here is where I want it. And this is going to be the one I get in there with. Now, we get down in here, take a look. This soil is 180 degrees different than what it was when we first got here. The people before us, we found gallons of dewormer, everything else. And it, like I said, it looked exactly like what you see over there. It was an absolute nightmare to get this thing to where it is right now. To the point where I got clover and a little bit of everything. Like I said, there's yarrow, several types of clover all in here. So this, I guess you could say, before we got to the point where we put the blueberries in over here, with any seriousness, we wanted to make sure the fungal component was a little bit higher before we put these in. Let's see what we look like in here. Hopefully it's not too root bound. And it is a little, not bad. Any soil, any grass I got in here, I'm basically gonna turn upside down. Trust me, by the time I'm done, it ain't gonna have any inclination of coming back anyway. I'm gonna want that to sit a little bit higher. Oh, a little worm. This is exactly why the cardboard is so doggone handy, because it gives you a base in which to grab all your stuff. All I'm gonna do, come down the middle, and I'm just gonna look at my base here. I'm gonna cut a Y in it, score the top of it. It slopes this way, so if I can, I'm gonna try to situate it like so. It doesn't look like it's gonna work, so it's not a great consequence if I adapt it and turn it a little bit. So there we go. I'm gonna take this, and where I cut that crack, I got it underneath, so nothing's gonna wanna go through there. Like when I got these, the guys like trying to sell me amendments and all that. No, we don't do any of that, y'all. It's either get loose or get lost around here when it comes to stuff like this. I will give you the bare minimum of what you need, and then it's up to you. So I'm not gonna add any amendments. I want the things that are gonna produce extremely well. I want the things that are gonna require as little intervention as possible. You'll notice also as I put that on there, it's not going anywhere because I'm on the uphill side of it with my hole. All right, as always, we're gonna pull it back from the base. I'm all the way down to the cardboard. People are gonna say, well, aren't you gonna put bone sauce on this? I could, but it's not necessary because nothing really messes with the blueberries out here. I mean, absolutely, I guess maybe birds when the time's right. They get us down the hill sometimes. But by and large, I got bone sauce on here, and I got bone sauce on everything else around it. But like I said, nothing ever messes with this anyway. And plus, it's getting the benefit of having the bone sauce on all the trees that are surrounding it. So that's a wrap. The only thing left to do is water it in, and we will. as soon as I get the rest of them in. I know a lot of folks are doing your annuals and getting your seeds started, and that's all well and good. But these days, I'm always thinking about those things that will produce without a whole lot of intervention on my part. Mostly your perennials. Why I'm so big into trees and nuts and all those other things. Believe me, there's not a lazy bone in my body. It's just passive food production at a time in America, and I dare say the world, where everything is becoming almost untenable. So that's exactly why we focus so much. We do the annuals and all that stuff, but this is why we focus on berries, nuts, blueberries, strawberries, any kind of berry and nut that will grow well here is here. Everything is done up the hill, watered in, ready to hop and pop. Now, I got this other interstitial space basically from where my mulch ring ends, which needs a little bit of TLC, but we can't really do anything till we see what the strawberries and the comfrey is going to do. And then we'll come back and deal with that later. But I got this green strip from here out to the driveway. Now, is that space I can use? Folks, this applies especially to all you folks that think, man, I got a narrow little bit of area, I can't do much. You can do a whole lot. It's all a matter of how you use it. So instead of growing grass here, which would ordinarily be great if I could allow my sheep to graze it, but I can't, it would be a nightmare to have them manage this little strip. So it's better, instead of letting them do it, it's better that if I let these blueberries occupy this space. And once again, well, I wouldn't even have to get out of the vehicle to pick blueberries from here. But I think you get the point. So this is where we're going next. All right, that's a wrap, y'all. We got 5 up the way. We got 5 right here. Now, the plan, if we want it to be, is going to be to continue this same pattern in between the trees all the way down the driveway, filling in all those unbelievable spaces. Now think about this, y'all. For 23 bucks, do you think this is worth it if just one of them took root and grew and grew and grew and grew and gave you berries for years and years and years? Folks, this is why I love trees, berries, the ground cover, all these things that we make edible, especially those things that we don't have to keep planting year after year. Now, if you're so inclined to do that, more power to you. That's wonderful. But I'm all about some passive food production. Now, the only thing left to do is I ran out of mulch. I got just stuff to hold the space right now. I'll go get more mulch. We'll water these in just like we did the others. And then it's just stand back and see if you're going to do something or if you aren't. And at the end of the day, y'all, I pray over everything. We ask the good Lord to bless this and everything else we put in. And you know what? Of all the things we do, whether it's for the grass or everything else, that's the most effective thing in the world. I mean it. So give it a shot. All right, y'all. Hopefully this was a blessing to you. Hopefully we'll have some comfrey here before long. It's starting to take off. And if you need any bone sauce, world's best deer repellent, it's what we put on all these trees. Go check us out at the website. Till next time, this is Billy from Perma Pastures Farm, where permaculture is my passion. And this is it, y'all. We'll see you next time.